In 2017, I coached 100 people for free. Now I wanted to make sure that this was for me. Like, I'd never been able to hold down a job for more than 3 months. I quit things pretty much a couple of months after starting them, and I didn't want this to follow the same suit. I made an agreement with myself. I will coach 100 people. In that time, I will figure out whether I want to do this professionally or not. What's up, ladies and chefs and gents? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name's Sachin. I've been coaching since 2016, and this channel is all about me sharing with you what I've learned on my coaching journey. And I'm going to share with you 7 things I learned whilst coaching 100 people for free in about 6-7 months or so. The first one is something that a lot of people have resistance to when I say it. It's funny, when if you have resistance to this, either send me a message or or both. Make an inquiry into yourself. Where's that coming from? And I don't mean your past or anything like that. What's the thinking around it? First one is, everyone is going through the same things. Nothing is unique to anyone, whether it's grief, self-doubt, anger, shame, happiness, whatever. We're all going through flavors of the same things. No one is going through anything unique to them. And it's a real eye-opener, and it gives you a really good insight into the next thing we're going to talk about. It's a humbling thing to know that you're not the only one going through it, and it pulls the rug out from underneath you. It takes away this like separateness from the world, which is self-created. And then I kept seeing it over and over again. People are like, oh, it must just be me. It's not. After listening to 100 people tell me very similar things, I was like, wow, it's not just me, it's not just you, it's everyone in different variations and flavors of these similar things. And like I said, the second thing, it's feelings versus reality. So subjective world, subjective thinking, subjective reality, I feel like I can't do it. The reality, objective reality, there's nothing stopping you from doing it except what you think. So let's take becoming a professional basketball player. The only thing stopping someone from becoming one is if their thinking is, I will never be able to do it.
Stop it.
And yet they might be short. There's short basketball players. Like this isn't about your genetic attributes or whatever. Same thing goes with curing your depression, curing your anxiety without medication. It's subjective world is telling you, oh yeah, like this is really bad, it's a disease, blah blah. Objective reality. There are people like myself, like Alex Manzi, and I could list a whole long list of people who are curing these illnesses, which aren't really illnesses, themselves. And we'll get onto that later. Feelings versus reality, big distinction. I saw it with so many people. We're living in a thought-created world rather than the real world. The real world that exists without our stories on top of it. Very important. How you see your world becomes your world is a nice way to summarize that. The next one, you can't see your own blind spots. So during this time, I met a lot of people, and I still meet a lot of people to this day who are excelling in certain areas of their lives and really like lacking in others. So one of my friends, for example, her business is doing the best it's ever been, but her personal life's really, really out of whack. Like, it's not good. And to her, the blind spot is, yeah, but like, I'm doing okay here. The reality is they're not like, oh, I'm doing great here and I'm not doing great here. It's all the same. Who you're being is across the board. How you do anything is how you do everything. If it's anywhere in your life, it's everywhere in your life. And this is a very unpopular thing, but I kept seeing it with so many people. If my business is doing great, but my relationships with my parents suck, it actually means that my business sucks. And when I've increased the quality of the relationships I'm having, my business really excelled, way beyond whatever I thought it could ever be. And that was a game changer for me and so many people I spoke with. Next one is, a lot of coaches will know this. If you're not a coach, this would be great for you to know if you're thinking about hiring one. Also, if you're thinking about hiring a coach, ask me. I'm connected with loads of coaches. I can point you in an amazing direction for you that will be very helpful. If you're considering therapy, consulting, counseling, mentoring, coaching, any of the above, ask me. I'm happy to put you in touch with people who will be amazing for you. So Coaching isn't about giving people my answers. It's about helping them come to their own. This is really funny because like I used to think, oh, like this person's got this problem, I'll just say this thing. And it would never take. Very rarely would it ever be someone like, oh yeah, that's it, and then session over, okay, bye. It doesn't work like that. You're not coming to us for some sage piece of wisdom that you didn't have before. This is not about information. This is about transformation. And I really saw that because I kept coming into coaching like, oh, I've got answers. I didn't have a leg to stand on. And very quickly, I came around to the other side of it, which is, okay, like, let me just really deeply hear you and speak to the truth that already exists within you, rather than trying to like give you something that I think will be helpful for you so I feel like I've done a good job as a coach. That's not how it works. That's not when coaching is the most effective. And that was a big breakthrough for me. Since then, my coaching has only gotten better because it's not about me. I'm making it about the other person. The client is always the agenda, not my ego. Now, with that being said, the next thing is very important. My style of coaching evolved because I kept seeing things that I liked and didn't like. So my coaching, like traditional coaching, we would call it, it's 100% client-led. Mine is about 50-50. And it's really fun. Like, that's the way I like to play. If a client says, I don't want to talk about something, I don't care. I'm gonna ask you about it, and we don't have to talk about it, but I'm gonna ask you about why you don't want to talk about it. And there's usually a gold mine there. If you say to me, I don't want to talk about something, and I'm hearing that there's gold in there, I'll ask you, hey, like, you might not want to talk about it, and this would be actually the most valuable use of our time. If you still don't want to, no worries, we can move on to something else. But they're all related. How you do anything is how you do everything. And this is how my coaching style developed. Over coaching 100 people, I really started to see like there's a fun way that I like to be with people to help them, and it's not by the book coaching. That's why I don't care about qualifications. This is just about helping people, and whatever methodology does that, great, I'll go with that. It's a two-way street, not just the client says whatever. I'm not going to allow people to go around in circles on their own. That, to me, that's wasting your money. Another one is this experience of coaching 100 people has helped me more than anything else. So experience trumps knowledge, right? So I met a bunch of people who were a lot older than me and were really struggling to help people when they had clients, and they were struggling to get clients. And because I hadn't read the books that they'd read, I didn't have the degrees, I didn't have the qualifications, and they would always ask me like, oh, what are you doing? I just said to them, I'm just helping people. I'm just getting into as many coaching sessions as possible. Free, paid, doesn't matter. I'm just helping people. And this is what I learned, like, experience of coaching people is the most helpful thing. Instead of like, oh yeah, like, let me try and sound clever. That's all about me. I don't need people to think a certain way of me, or like, oh yeah, he must be good because he said that. It doesn't matter. I'm just curious about people. And that's what really changed the game for me. It really helped me to come back away from all of the trying to come across impressive or competent, all that. Just come back from all that, take a big step back and focus on the person in front of me. Experience trumps everything. It doesn't mean that knowledge is bad, doesn't mean that books are bad. Combine them. I used to do this thing, right? I'd read a book, take the biggest learnings out of it, and go and use them in sessions, or talk about those points with people in sessions. I'd talk to my clients about the books that I'm reading. I'd ask them to read the same books and we'd discuss it. These are like really powerful things that I learned how to like blend and mold these things together rather than relying on one. And I wouldn't have learned that if I didn't coach so many people. The last thing we're going to talk about today is mental health is innate. Mental illness is a misunderstanding of the nature of thought. And if you build your life around stories that aren't true, you just end up in a mess and you think you're ill. You look at all the evidence around you and you're like, oh, well, I must be messed up because look at how my life looks. Out of those 100 people I coached, I helped this woman. She was going to kill herself, and on the phone, she showed me on the video, she flushed all of her pills down the toilet. I coached a bunch of people on their mental health who were really struggling with depression, PTSD, anxiety, you name it. I covered so many things with so many people, and my colleagues kept telling me, you're not supposed to do that, you're supposed to refer them to therapy. These people were like me. Therapy wasn't helping them, and they wanted something different, and I was offering that. And what happened during this time is I got a real clear insight into this. We just have misunderstandings about thought and the nature of thinking. So the girl who was going to kill herself, she said, yeah, like, these are the things that my boyfriend did to me. So we separated them, events and stories. Her stories were, these are the reasons why I should kill myself, but the events were things that he said or didn't say or do and didn't do. And when she saw them clearly, she was like, oh, I've got no reasons to kill myself. I'm just making massive assumptions based on these stories I've made up about these events. And I didn't realize I was doing that. And there's an innocence there. She saw her own innocence and it changed everything. This is the access that every single one of us has to freeing ourselves from mental illness. It's just a misunderstanding. And if I didn't coach 100 people for free, I never would have seen it. I would have got an insight into it, but I really saw it through experience. That's what changed the game for me. And that's all I got for you today, ladies and gents. How about that for a fun video? I'd love to hear from you. What have been your biggest insights on your coaching journey? Either being coached, coaching people, receiving mentorship, consulting, counseling, whatever's been helpful for you. I'd love to hear it. And if you like the video, like and subscribe. We've got way more great content coming your way, and we'll see you in the next video, chefs.